but it wasn't until like a while later that I finally met a lot of the cast who were actually there, and like little me, like, you know, it was such a strange sort of experience being like, oh, we've been filming for months and I'm seeing you finally now.
So, first question is for Alycia. You are beloved for The 100 and Fear the Walking Dead, which are both kind of in the sci-fi genre world. Is there something different in the way that you have to approach a project like this?
Oh, absolutely, definitely. And I love that I was able to be a part of that genre. Um, it's formed so much of my experience as an actor and as a person, um, and I've loved it. But this was really fun to move into a different genre and sort of investigate a character that felt very very um, you know layered in such a we get a real psychological experience of a character. This is really at its essence the kind of psychological down spiral of someone, and an investigation into childhood trauma and how that manifests so many years later. So for me, yeah, I kind of approach this a little bit more as a specific character piece and less of, I think, in genre. You have so much of the world that informs what your character is and what's going on and the kind of story that you're telling. But for this, it felt a little bit more intimate and insular, and I really appreciated that as a new experience for me.
Yeah. And Josh, I feel like you're almost playing two characters in this because you are playing somebody who just goes through this massive change. Like, how was that? Was that a challenge for you to play that and to make sure that everything is kind of connected?
Yeah. The challenge there was just sort of truly developing two different people. One who's idealistic and hopeful, and a little awkward, and then someone who's gone through intense, profound trauma, and figuring out what was different about them, and then figuring out also what married them together. And then every couple, because we shot it all together, so we shoot one timeline one week and then another timeline the next week. And so just going back and forth and just being specific and clear about where I was in the story was the main challenge there.
Alycia, I'm just going to jump back and forth.
Yeah, great.
Your character is like defined by things that you as an actor really didn't get to participate in. Like, did you get to look at those other scenes that were being filmed, or did you get any sort of context outside of the script that helped you in your portrayal?
It's such a weird experience when you are not involved in an entirely, separate and major part of the story. And in some respect, you do have to trust just the production and the directors and the showrunners to make sure that synergy comes together well, which they did. But it is weird. Also, I did get to spend some time filming in the Dominican Republic because our stages were down there, and but it wasn't until like a while later that I finally met a lot of the cast who were actually there, and like little me, like, it was such a strange sort of experience being like, oh, we've been filming for months and I'm seeing you finally now. But I kind of liked that separation because it does mean that I can really focus on the present day narrative and get really specific with it. And it simplifies, I think, a otherwise quite overwhelming job. This gave me a little bit more of a singular focus of how this trauma has then now manifested in her adult life. So yeah, I think it's a bit of both.
And this is kind of for both of you, but your characters are obviously linked through this specific tragedy. Like, how does that affect just how they interact and what their relationship kind of comes to be?
Yeah, it's we were just talking about how there's this like invisible thread early on in our conversations when we were talking about how we would approach this. We talked about an invisible thread between our characters where she knows what she's kind of knows what's going down, and I have no idea, but there's still something that's connecting me to this person, and I don't know yet until the truth comes out. But we had talked early on about kind of how we would marry the two and how I would connect to one another in the work.
We were I was quite intrigued by the idea of when people go through a really extreme traumatic experience, you know, that bonds people for life. And you know, even if they're on completely different, having completely different experiences and perspectives, you know, there is sort of this strange magnetism that then will sort of always link those people. And I think, you know, we had really thought of that concept when we were building this out. And then I also think a lot of our sets really helped create some of that intimacy too. You know, we're often in very isolating and intimate settings like the restaurant or a cab. You know, it means that there was space to play with that intimacy and that really fine line between what these characters feel like they know about each other and what's actually really hidden beneath it. And, you know, I think also for Emily, like as a character, it's, you know, she's also trying to marry the idea of the two people that you were sort of suggesting that she has in her head of Clive, which is the person she knew when she was a small child, who was a friendly and kind and positive character. And then this sort of version of a character that has been warped or changed over time based on what, you know, the events that have transpired, but also what the media has sort of said, what her parents have sort of said, and trying to like understand how that can be the same person. So, you know, it offers a very complex, insight.
No, that's great. I think that's all I've got for you. But congratulations on the series. You're both amazing in it. It's really fun to watch.